In 1984, I was recruited to run for this board by a lady that I barely knew. She said the college needed the immediate attention of the community and that I should accept the responsibility. I politely declined, but Jean Eckhoff persisted until finally I agreed. Little did I know that the decision that I made would change my life forever.
Community leader, businesswoman, college trustee, wife, mother, and grandmother. These are all words that describe Mary Rose Cardenas. Known for having a strong and steadfast character with a willingness to vigorously engage the most challenging issues, Mary Rose can build a consensus for action to bring about important and productive change. Nowhere is that more evident than at the University of Texas at Brownsville and Texas Southmost College. Born in Mercedes, Texas in 1932, Mary Rose was the oldest of 4 children. Her father, a second-generation Spaniard, managed a hardware store and sold insurance in Brownsville, where he raised his family. The family had no luxuries, but managed despite those very difficult Depression years. Graduating from Brownsville High School in 1948, Mary Rose enrolled at Brownsville Junior College. But her very old-fashioned father, alarmed by the large infusion of ex-servicemen who began attending college on the GI Bill, made her withdraw from college. Dreams of a college education were left behind permanently at age 17 when her father became ill and had to leave his job. Mary Rose became the breadwinner for the family. In 1955, she married Renato Cardenas. He owned a gasoline station where he would begin selling used cars. Working side by side with her husband, and while her mother helped care for her children, their business prospered, and in 1971, they secured the City Buick's franchise. Cardenas Motors now has dealerships in Brownsville and Harlingen, and was cited by Hispanic Business Magazine as one of the nation's top Hispanic-owned corporations. Later, they grew another successful business, Cardenas Land Development. In 1984, Mary Rose was considering a run for mayor, but was persuaded by Texas Southmost College board member Jean Eckhoff that she would benefit the community more by joining the college board. Michael Putnat remembers his first encounter with Mary Rose.
But I heard something in her voice that was different. There was a tone. It was strength. It was conviction. Here was a person who was patient, persevering, and clearly courageous. I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. There could be something happening here.
Mary Rose joined political forces with Michael, and that spring, they swept the polls in what was dubbed a high-tech election. When they joined the board, they ushered in a new beginning for Texas Southmost College and the community.
I served only one term at the college, but it was a term when there was a lot of turmoil. And the reason I remember that is because I was right in the middle of it, and there were 5 people who served on the board that really worked very hard to try to bring this community together. That was Mary Rose, Michael, Willie Crafts, Jean Eckhoff, and myself. I'd like to say to Mary Rose this: from the war to this is a lot of change.
During Mary Rose's tenure, many firsts were celebrated. The campus was refurbished and restored. Classroom space and the library doubled in size. Numerous state-of-the-art buildings were added, and an award-winning scholarship program was launched to make higher education possible for thousands of talented students. And perhaps what she may most be remembered for is the partnership. She was and remains the driving force behind this unique, one-of-a-kind historic union created in 1991 between Texas Southmost College and the University of Texas. It all started with a series of phone calls and a meeting with Dr. Hans Mark, then Chancellor of the University of Texas System.
The two gentlemen, the lawyer and the main representative of all faculty in the state of Texas for UT, proceeded to give us, I guess, 10 or 15 good reasons that we should do this, but not now. This is going to take roughly about 10 years to get to that point.
No, he said 20 to 30.
Well, I'm sorry. 20 to 30. And Mary Rose sat there very quietly. We all did. And then she spoke. And this is what she said. That's not good enough.
And then she came up with the following proposal. She said, we, the Texas Southmost College, contract for a lot of things. We contract for our maintenance, we contract for our cafeterias, etc., etc. And then she said, why can't we contract for our educational services as well? And why can't you be the contractor? Well, you know, when you hear a good idea, the first instinct always is to kick yourself and to say, why didn't I think of that? And that is how this whole thing got started.
Throughout the negotiations, Mary Rose became very well known, not only in Brownsville but also in Austin, for her persistence. Founding chairman of the UTB Development Board, Bobby Duffy, told this story when the UT Regents visited Brownsville for the first time in 1993.
When all of this relationship was going on between Texas Southmost College and the University of Texas at Austin, and this merger was going on, and Hans Mark was chancellor at the time. And I had been working a little bit both for Mary and with Hans and whatnot, and I get a phone call and they said it's Dr. Mark calling, and I accepted the call, Bernard, because I felt like I better. And Hans said, do you know Mary Cardenas? And I said, yes, Hans, I've known Mary Cardenas since high school. She is a great friend. And he said, can you please get her to back off? We're trying to start a university down there, and she wants to take off in Austin already. You remember that? And I called, I said, Mary, just be calm. Hans says it's all going to happen. We just got to be patient. And she says, but we've got to go up there. We've got to get it. You know, we've got to do this. And that's why we have this university.
And she did not stop with a partnership. The city needed a four-year university, and that became her next cause. In May of 1997, she and the trustees were at the state capitol when the Texas Senate approved a bill that would expand UT Brownsville to four-year status. The bill was signed into law by then-Governor George Bush, and today, the Lower Rio Grande Valley boasts its very own four-year university. In addition to numerous local and state awards, Mary Rose has received national recognition from the Association of Governing Boards and Universities and Colleges for her exemplary service as a trustee. With her family and colleagues in attendance, Mary Rose was hailed as a strong and trusted innovator for her well-reasoned approach to problem solving and for her clear and consistent voice in guiding the university.
Good evening. My heart is filled with gratitude for this honor and for all those who considered me worthy of this nomination. There is no great secret to succeeding as a trustee, whether you serve 2 years or 20. It is presence and communication. Being there, listening, and speaking up are necessary to help all of higher education achieve their mission.
And she has been there. In April of 2004, Mary Rose marked her 20th year of service to the College Board. First elected on April 7th of 1984 and re-elected in 1990 and again in 1996, she has served 4 terms as chairman of the board.
Because of sacrifices that you were making, Mary Rose, standing up in front as always strong and steady. Little by little, decisions were made, hard work was done, and great things happened. So today we look around us and we see what was a cocoon, now this great unfolding butterfly, this partnership between UT and TSC. I don't think any of us believed 20 years ago this is where it could go.
Married on December 17, 1955, Mary Rose and her husband, Renato, celebrated 50 years of marriage in 2005. Staunch supporters of education, they have instilled the importance of going to college and getting an education in their 5 children, and now in their 5 grandchildren. Mary Rose says she considers it a privilege and an opportunity to have served, but prefers to give credit for her success to the armies assembled for getting the work done. A dynamic force, especially when it meets resistance, and for only one reason, pure and simple. She believes that everyone is entitled to higher education and intends to spend her life making sure they have access to it.
My husband, Renato Cardenas, that is here, claims that I spend most of my time thinking about the college, talking to people about the college, or seeking for the college, and he's right. I agree with you. Because from the beginning I have known that Texas Southmost College was this community's greatest asset. I say that here in Austin, testifying before a House committee, meeting with the Chancellor of UT, or wherever I have to make sure that the world knows our need and our commitment to meeting those needs. When I think about it, I can hardly believe that since May of '84, I have been a part of the commencement ceremonies at this institution. Since 1984, I have been honored to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Community College District. I have received much more from my service than I have been asked to give. I have had the humbling experience to hood my daughter, Elsa Cardenas Hagan, as you just witnessed. I have had the privilege of working with trustees who to me are like family. We have disagreements, but there has always been trust and respect for one another. Friendship with board members, faculty, administration have brought much joy to me, and I have seen our students come so far into their own place in the community. Even when I knew by experience that you could achieve your goals, my heart would fill with pride and my eyes with tears that come very easily to me when you realize it for yourselves. Tonight, I come to you, our students, faculty, staff, and community to let you know that the time has come for me to step down as TSC trustee. For very personal reasons, I have made this decision. Aristotle believed that when you engaged in intellectual activity, we are at our most blessed and at our happiest state. Being with you in this intellectual community has made me a better person. May God bless you, your family, and this great institution of ours, UTB-TSC. Thank you.